Well, it's deer season, and we went to disabled deer camp.
What's it like getting up in the morning?
It sucks. Every time I wake up, I have spasticity like crazy. I have to like stretch them back and forth for a long time. Just a little push. So I got in a motorcycle accident in Grand Rapids and hit a tree head on. Everything from here down is paralyzed. I got really depressed when I got home. So I had a buddy, Dave. He ended up taking me out hunting. It was awesome. I forgot about all my pain. I forgot about all the bullshit, everything I was going through. It made me realize that I have life to live still. I still have passion. I still have enjoyment. I still can find the things that I love in life. I came up with the idea that how could I get people to experience something like I did? How can I get them out in the woods? It's free. I take people for free because that's the whole point is the people that need this, they don't have the funds necessarily. Each guest that comes has their own little suite with sinks and showers you can all roll in really easy.
This might be the most beautiful hunting experience, I think, just this I've ever had. I mean, I like to go out and have a beer, smoke a cigar.
Yep.
Talk shit.
Yeah, it's always fun talking shit.
Love it. Greg got hit by a semi.
Well, it was more like I hit the semi. Turned right in front of me.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yep, all of it.
I was talking to my wife on the phone.
You're lucky not only to be hunting, but to be here, actually.
I had two different doctors at different hospitals ask her if she wanted to just let me go. Hold the proverbial plug. So I was bad.
How's your life? Has it been hard?
You know, it is. I
Must
get
be.
3 to 4 hours sleep a night. That's just the way it goes.
The view I see was what a person would see looking through the scope. Right there is what I wanted.
I don't really have any time to myself. I don't have any time to do any of my projects.
And I can't use my fingers, so I shoot like this.
You know, I'm okay with that. I really am.
Remember to appreciate her.
She slept in every hospital next to me and
On the floor sometimes.
scratched every itch and been through it all with me.
To give you something back that you're missing?
Yeah, definitely. Makes me feel alive again. It's not about getting a deer, it's about getting out there.
Were you a regular hunter?
Every season, never missed.
He's legal.
Usually where I hunt, there's a lot of does. No one's taking them and they run the bucks away. So up here it's managed a little better.
Okay. You know where we're at when it gets dark.
Oh, how do I get here?
Mark lays a trail data moon.
Okay, yeah, I'll start dropping toilet paper right now.
Take a picture of that. That's what we're gonna need. Just one of them right there. Ready?
Got it in the clearing at the end and it went that way.
It's a lovely bog.
You see any orange?
I did not. I went up on that
I didn't
ridge
either.
across the way.
Lost blood trail.
Lost it?
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it drops.
I think I just heard a follow-up shot, so they probably have your deer right now.
I just saw that sign. It's a nice buck.
Looks nice.
Your ass, man.
I let him go the first time because I didn't want my hunting to be over.
Ooh, he stinks.
Live from downtown Detroit, it's the No Bullshit News Hour with my main man, Charlie LeDuff and Karen Dumas.
It's just it, breaking news. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
Yeah, if you're listening and not watching, and you want to see Disabled Deer Ken, that was Disabled Deer Ken. That was shot by Ken Beck. It's nice work and edited. You can go to the Enjoyer. Is that the website? The Michigan Enjoyer? Enjoyer.com. You can find it on my Twitter page, Charlie LeDuff. You can go to BS Newshour.com and see it there. It's quite beautiful. Actually, lovely.
That's touching.
Yeah, and it was Big Al got a buck, and while they were waiting to find it, I wrote a story about it, but while they were waiting to find it, his wife, Rebecca, came up to me. And that's the deep part of a story, right? Mm-hmm. That's just the tease, but like I said, you go to my Twitter page or whatever. And she sat next to me, and she said what she had done was it's over. I'm done. I can't take it. Got in her car, was going back to Kansas, hit a blizzard in Des Moines, got a hotel, and her husband, Greg, was calling, and she blew him off, and she called her minister, and he said, the Lord will intervene. The Lord will work what he's supposed to work. And Greg called again, and she picked up the phone, and as she's talking to him, Greg drove right into a Mack truck.
Oh, my God.
So, and they both acknowledged it brought them closer. So, I mean, I'm not going to write it what that means, but that has so many permutations. Mm-hmm. What bringing them closer means, and just to be normal out there, just to get some air and meet some people, and hunting's just it's weird because you hunt to live and you live to hunt, Hmm. So they finally get out there because you're kind of a shut in. It's a beautiful. It's called Hunt to Heal. Number 2, it's free, so you have to apply, but it's 100% handicap accessible. It's a beautiful lodge. It's a square mile of hunting grounds. So
I'd never heard of it. You never think that a facility like that would exist, but that's good. Cause like he said, it wasn't about bagging the deer. It's about just getting out. Yeah. And some degree of normalization in his life.
And Al got a deer, but Al couldn't go, he didn't get him clean. So, you got to send the guy with the 4 good limbs out into the woods.
You tracked it?
On his hands and knees, dude.
I'm a Rudolph fan, so, I don't that's cruel, but more power to you.
Deer, there's too many on the road. They're killing people.
I know, but I just...
And joining us is hotel and restaurant queen Grace Carrolls.
Oh, yeah, hi.
Owner of American Coney Island.
Thanks for having me. That was a great piece.
Here, thank you. Here and in Las Vegas, and at the what's the name
Circa
of it? The
Resort.
Circa. Yeah.
Victory Burger and Wings and Stadium Swim.
Right on. So before we go on, I mean, what the fuck is going on in Russia?
I feel like you're looking at me. Well, I know Tucker Carlson's on his way there because that's a reason why we're a day late this week.
Yeah.
He was going to be on with us, but apparently that's more important to him.
What, World War III?
Yeah, doing this show than doing this show.
Tucker was going to... We'll get him soon, but
exactly.
World events are just unfolding. So
no, but now
you got a good fill-in, though.
Oh, I'm happy with it.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Good.
And you're here. You're not
rather
virtual.
Talk to you than Tucker any day.
Yeah.
But so, I don't know what the Biden administration's doing here.
Neither does the Biden administration.
Right? In the waning days of a disastrous presidency, you've decided that you are going to guide the Ukrainians long-term missiles that we gave them into Russian territory. Like, what have they got left? 60 days of this administration? And so in retaliation, the Russians are dropping ICBMs into Ukraine. This is a fucking disaster. And now we're going to give them landmines?
Yeah.
What deep statery is this shit?
Yeah, well, all I know is you have missiles flying all over the place over there, and that's not really a good thing. Just to say it easily.
We're in a state of denial. We're in a state of denial and in a state of confusion. That's where we are as a country and as a world. I mean,
yeah.
we are.
I mean, you're heading towards a world war. Why escalate it when you're on your way out? Some deep state bullshit?
They want to destroy as much as possible on their way out.
Well, you could light Europe on fire before you got out. What a bunch of just deep state war hawk amateurs. Like the what happened to the Democrats?
But that's petty, though. I mean, and that's where politics has gone over the years. It's not about the people. You know, it's all about the personality. It's all about, you know, the ego, and and it's petty.
So Trump was the madman?
Yeah, right.
This is sheer madness. It's in the heart of Europe. It's a serious fucking deal. Should scare everybody. So, you know, I don't know what Tucker's doing. Maybe he's going back to see Putin. I don't know.
We can watch and see.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't we, on that happy note, why don't we hear from our sponsors, Mark?
I'm Grace Karros, and I'm third generation of American Coney Island. People say Detroit's a comeback city. I say, where you been? We've been here for over 100 years. My family's been here on the same corner, serving our famous proprietary American Coney Island hot dog. So like always, we're keeping things fresh, updated, and new. We'd love to have you come downtown and visit us, but if you can't, you can always go to AmericanConeyIsland.com, order a Coney kit, get it delivered fresh right to your door.
Archangel, are you an entrepreneur looking for a safe and socially responsible real estate investment? I don't mean to make it sound like this, but it's franchising. You are a caregiver. You buy the product from Archangel. The flow, they staff it for you. They get the property. That's what the investors come in for. And you, like a restaurant, work it off, and eventually you become the owner. The investor gets paid. The caregivers can actually end up being their own bosses. People get to live in communities. They're clean, they're small, they're tight. If you are interested in investing in this, you'll get a better explanation from Archangel. 989-614-0416. Believe me, this is the future. This is what's happening. 989-614-0416.
This message of Uplift is brought to you by business and personal wealth advisor Luke Nowacki, who reminds you that what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but never enter the kingdom of God? But while you're waiting, Nowacki wants you to remember that overreaction is not a sound financial strategy. So call Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748 for sound financial advice.
Hey, shut the fuck up. We're doing a show. What is this? What is this?
That's how you treat your guests, Charlie?
These are not guests. These are hangers-on.
Okay, well, still, they're...
They don't pay for the coffee. They don't do anything.
They just come for the food.
They just come for the food.
Well, you can't blame them for that.
Leave a tip. That shit's about to change.
So let's go bang, bang, bang here and get out because it's. I'm gonna take next week off. Right? I'm tired. It's just been.
I know. This year's been exhausting.
Oh my goodness! Right? So
it has.
So like the only media on lesser fumes than me is the mainstream media covering politics in this fucking country. You see. Morning Joe with the mea culpa, right? To Joe and Mika go down to Mar-a-Lago to eat crow. Give me a little peace.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we?
Wow.
Okay.
Kissing ass so they lose their jobs.
But did you hear that Bill O'Reilly last night on Cuomo's show talked about how NBC is pulling out of the MSNBC partnership. And so that's going to leave them without the validation, the connectivity, the resources of NBC. They talked about, last night was a very good show. I was expecting to see you on, Charlie. So yeah, as you talk about them being on fumes and trying to hang on, they're all struggling for survival at this point.
If she wants to ask why not, I'll answer. It's because for the last year, you've told us of what a terrible person he was, how he's a dictator, how he's Hitler. I mean, okay, we knew you were a phony, but now there's evidence of how absolute fake you are. It's
all fake news.
I understand that, but now you have concrete evidence.
For sure. And there's even more concrete. I mean, they get on there, all of them, from the News Nations to the Fox to the CNNs, all the shit. And they're talking about fake news and media and misinformation. They're talking about themselves.
Yeah.
They're on there talking about the other people. They're talking about themselves.
But it's not news anymore. And we've talked about this locally, nationally. Everybody is now trying to be the people that they talk about. So, they want to be the celebrity, the superstar. They want to be the decision maker. They want to be in the room. They want to be in the camera shot. They're not in the, the role of being a journalist and questioning, demanding accountability, asking questions. That
Well,
doesn't
in
exist
fairness to Joe and Mika, I don't ever think I ever consider them journalists.
Well, no, and not even then. And I'm speaking generally.
Yeah.
I'm
They
just
don't
saying
do
they
any
just
work.
don't. No.
They read what's ever thrown in front of them.
Yeah.
And then who all of a sudden made The View like mainstream media? Can someone?
They said that's next to go.
The View has got to go now. Who
said
are
that's
they?
next.
I was looking at some stupid clips for their fake eyelashes, extensions, and who made Whoopi and the other? I don't even know their freaking
Women.
names. And who's the old lady? What's her
Women-
name?
women
The
did.
old
Joy
lady.
Ba- Joy- Joy Behar.
But I mean, I don't care what you really think. And if you have your opinions, that's great. But don't tell me what my opinions are or cut me down or degrade me.
different, right.
You can have your opinions. You are not news. You're some stupid show to fill in because whatever station they're on can't find anything better. They're terrible. They need to go. Every one of them.
Well, I heard
And they had a kiss ass too the other day and apologized with the Gates thing. This chick was reading it and her facial expressions like,
On The View, you mean?
Yeah, on The View. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
3 minutes later, had to come back and say,
because the attorney was,
the alleged sexual abuse.
Exactly.
The DOJ looked into it and found nothing.
She said, I mean, she used alleged, but she said he was charged, and he never was charged.
Right.
So
Looks like she had swallowed a mentholated mothball too. When
Good,
3 minutes later, like the lawyer's like, right now, down to the producer, read this.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
they're all imploding inside. Who
So,
cares?
but where does this leave the American people?
Well,
like,
here, I'll
where,
tell you,
where,
look.
where do they go?
See it at MSNBC's ratings are down like 60 fucking %. CNN, it's a bloodbath. They're down. They're looking to lay people off. Fox got the bump. It's not journalism. You know what I mean? It was, now you got to go down there and kiss his ass.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm saying once upon a time, people could turn on the news, they could read a paper, they could do things to get information to make an informed decision.
But it was
that doesn't
fake.
exist
I'm sorry,
anymore.
Carrie, but it was fake back then too, because it was all corporate. CBS was a little different than NBC, and then Peter Jennings on the ABC, and the newspapers were staid country club editors, like little difference between the free press and the news, but it was all the internet for all the evils, right? You can't filter the truth, but the newspapers and the mainstream media was never giving it to you either. So now it's this wild
So
new
we've
world.
always
I wish there
misled.
was a medium, right? I wish there was a difference between there, because you want some kind of editorial standards, right? You just don't want some guy spouting off online, but at the same time, you don't want so many editorial, editors getting their fingers within something. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, hopefully it's a new era. Like, those of us that got taught the old standards, maybe we can pass them on.
I think the problem with that is that it just doesn't sell.
What do you mean? Like,
well,
we get clicks, don't we? Should I start shaving my nipples or something?
Piercing them, maybe.
I think people finally woke up and they're listening, and they know to find you and the various other people who are doing actual work and not just repeating everything they hear, whether it be left, right, whatever. People finally are getting it.
And let's not call it a Republican victory.
No.
The Republicans got a lot to answer for, and
Absolutely.
they're trying to hold on, like, they're down with populism somehow. No, they're just in the weeds, and they're plotting. So it's not a victory. But Mark, you pointed out something really interesting. Is everybody in the Trump administration is kind of an oligarch?
Well, look at all the billionaires, right? I mean, Elon's involved. Trump's a billionaire. The former head of Cantor Fitzgerald, who's now the Commerce nominee, is a multi-billionaire. Linda McMahon is a billionaire. I mean, it's this class of oligarchs. And trust me, there's oligarchs on the other side, too. You have Soros. At some point, when are people going to realize that these people don't give a shit about you?
None of them do.
I really don't think the policies they make are for a greater good. I think a lot of times it's to benefit themselves. And traditionally, we don't like oligarchs in this country.
No, but we've always had them.
Oh, absolutely.
The great
Robber
train barons.
of course.
So, at minimum, okay, regular people who have to fight the wars, I don't want to fight a war, right? And I want some stability in my border. I guess I'm going to have to put up with the rich guys, but I don't know. They still run everything.
But haven't they always been the ones that run things? I mean, whether they have been in an official position or not. I mean, we may not think of them because they're not in front of us, but in actuality, they, when Jason was here last week and he said, when you donate to a campaign that provides access, that provides influence, so whether they've been in the forefront or not, they've been doing that all along.
Well, you're sitting in the city of the world that created a golden era for working people.
Mm-hmm.
We had a nice couple of decades run there where you had to share the wealth and the oligarch who goes golfing at 4, and then the union head's getting something for his people, and we created a middle class. I don't know where we're going to be going.
Yeah, because the disparity between the rich and the working class now is greater than it's ever been based on percentages.
Even during the Gilded Age, right? With the robber barons.
Oh, yeah.
Like the difference between rich and poor is, I don't know what we're going to do.
That's a good question.
Well, unfortunately, the working people are going to keep working, right? I just think it's going to get bigger and bigger.
So, let's go statewide. So what are we doing? It's the last gasps of the Democrats. Like, okay, so Whitmer is a lame duck governor. Mm-hmm. The House was just lost to the Republicans, and the Senate is tied, right? So nothing's going to get done here, I don't think, except maybe some impeachment hearings. Well, we're still going to see what happened with these nursing homes.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
That's not going. But there's two things they were doing. One is what are we calling this? Like the homeless bill of rights?
Yeah, I didn't know about this. This is interesting.
Yeah, it's like 9 points. It just came out of committee. I'll just go quick. The right to move freely in public spaces as anybody else. The right to equal treatment by all state municipal agencies, like anybody else. The right to be employed without having a house, like everybody else. The right to emergency medical care. Right. I didn't know that was an issue. The right to vote. We already knew that they could do it.
Yeah.
The right to protection of your medical records and your housing records, right?
Mm-hmm.
Privacy. That's I
HIPAA,
thought.
yeah.
Right. The right to confidentiality of all the stuff you're getting from the government, your food stamps, whatever. Okay, and then the right to a reasonable expectation of privacy in the individual's personal property to the same extent as personal property in a permanent residence. Let me read that again. The right to reasonable expectation of privacy in the individual's personal property, tent, to the same extent as personal property of a house.
So is that considered personal property if it's on public property?
Yes. That's kind of how I hear it.
But I'm saying, isn't that kind of a gray area? I mean, because
so they can come pitch a tent outside my door. They're already pitching shit outside my door. They're already sleeping in front of my door. They're already coming into my restaurant, and not just mine, a lot of people's in the city, and harassing customers, damaging things, demanding free food. If they don't get free food, then they'll break something or yell at you or pull. I've had knives pulled on me. I've had been spit at, things broken. I mean, it is not my job in this city to feed every homeless person. Yes, I do help a lot. And Monday, we're doing a thing with the Restaurant Association. We're feeding 1,000 homeless people or people in need for Thanksgiving. But this is not my job. It is not my job to supply a bathroom for everybody who can't find a bathroom in this city. Mayor, get some porta potty. I'm not the Porta Coney Island. Get some porta johns out there. The parade's coming up. People are going to use my bathroom, flood it. Thousands of dollars later, they're throwing T-shirts down there. So now I got to worry about homeless. I'm a restaurant owner. I can only speak for myself, but we have enough to worry about. We want our customers to have an experience. I need to protect my staff and protect myself.
And how do you know who's homeless?
You don't, right?
Somebody's muttering and stuff doesn't mean that they're homeless.
That's a whole nother, that's mental health. That's a whole nother issue.
That's what they should be working on.
We've got thousands of dollars for every other stupid bullshit that the mayor and the governor Whitmer want to put together. No one has tackled the mental health crisis. Nobody. And it's disgusting. And this one hurts my heart. The mental situation in this country needs to be attacked.
Exactly.
Fuck the Democrats and neither one of them. Let's see if the Republicans can get something done.
But you know what? I was thinking yesterday, and I think, what do we have? About 70,000 nonprofit organizations in the state of Michigan?
77, as you told me.
Okay. So we got a lot of nonprofit organizations, most of which are focused on resolving some social issue here in the metropolitan Detroit area. But everybody repeatedly follows the same agenda. They do the same thing. The people switch out and nothing ever happens. Do we ever wonder why we're feeding people and why they continue to be hungry? Do we wonder why, people don't have resources, why they are undereducated, but we're not looking at the contributing factors?
They're not finding a solution.
That's what
here's a meal and we'll think about you again in 6 months when it's another holiday. Nothing gets done.
Nothing ever changes.
No, but the people in charge of those nonprofits' pockets are full, aren't they? Yeah. That's where it's going. They're full of shit.
And here's the next one going through. The next one going through is increasing minimum wage for food servers, right? So
tipped employees.
Tipped employees. So currently now it's about $4 an hour, right? And then so let's say you have one table and they spend $100. You got $4, right? And then 20% tip, $24.
If they tip you 20%.
Yeah. Well, let's just, we have to do it that way just for general math. Okay. So that's $120 for the consumer, $100 for the house, and $24 for the worker. So now they want to bring it up to 15, then 18, then 20. Okay. So if it's from 4 to 15, it now goes up. Your bill's not 100, it's 111. So are you going to continue to tip 20%, or are you going to get wise and start tipping the difference?
You're going to tip way less. You're not going to tip 20%.
5%, right?
Yes. And that's why all the restaurant employees in the hospitality industry are so upset about this. I mean, who woke up one morning and decided this is a good idea?
So you go like this. Okay, so the bills now, let's say, let's take an average, right? Like if it's going to be 15, 18, or 20, whatever, we'll call it 18 an hour. So that bill is now going to go up to what, 114, right?
Yeah.
114. Yeah. So for you, the consumer, to remain at 120, you would only tip 5%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So 18.
And people are looking for any excuse to tip less because people hate tipping.
Right.
I'm just saying, as a
I
consumer.
enjoy tipping.
So
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. What I see, people tip really well, but they're also not going to be taken advantage of when they see that someone's getting paid $20 and $22 an hour, and I had to go up on my prices to be able to afford. I mean, I'm not doing this for free, but my staff also needs to be taken care of.
And we'll do the simple math. Okay, so it's 18, and you're tipping 5%. Right, which is 5. It's 23, not 24. So they start taking a cut.
Right.
The
server's going to lose here.
So what would be, is it ideal, Grace, from your perspective and knowing your staff's perspective, is the situation now at the $4 and something,
they love it because
and
they're
a projected
getting
20% tips? Okay.
They end up making like $28 to $32 an hour.
Do you think people are more conscientious about it because they know they make a lower
People
minimum
know.
wage? So they
Yes.
know. So a higher okay.
Well,
all right.
Can I ask you this, Grace? Because you're a restaurant owner, and you work on really slim margins.
Every restaurant works in slim margins.
Nobody wants to raise their prices.
No, we don't just do it because we want to screw the customer.
And nobody wants to also fire employees. Right? I mean, is this going to be...
I won't have to fire them. They're going to leave on their own because they're not going to make enough tips. It won't be I won't even have that option.
When you ask who comes up with something like this, it's a politician because, hey, what worker doesn't want to make more? But I think a lot of times workers don't realize that, hey, I'm not going to be the one who's going to lose my job. That person over there might. I mean, the fact is, you raise wages, there's still a labor cost every business runs by. You're going to have to reduce that one way or the other, either raising prices
You
or
pass it on to
lessening
the
your
consumer.
labor.
Everything gets passed.
But you don't
on
want to
the
pass
consumer.
100% of it on.
You can't because then you're going to run yourself out of business.
Already. But if you pass on the consumer, you're already passing inflation on to me.
Exactly.
I'm not going out. I'm not getting a raise.
Right.
Everybody in America knows. They now know it was all a fake political season.
Exactly.
That our real incomes have gone down.
Yep.
So you're going to create more inflation here. The tax on no tax on tips. Sorry, it's a Trump one. It's better. That puts more money into the worker's pocket. It leaves the government with less money. We have to figure out how to balance the books. They're not very good at that. But this is antithetical to creating business.
Yeah.
But let me
It's
how
so
do you,
bad.
how do you handle, or how do restaurants handle? I mean, because you're in the association, when consumers tip in cash. So is the wait staff? I mean, is the wait person
cash?
I'm sorry.
They prefer tipping cash.
Yeah, but do they have to report it? Do you? Because one restaurant said that they make all the waiters or the staff put all their cash tips in. They had something, and I told the guy, I said, I don't think that's right.
You have to do it now technically, but what's the IRS really looking at? About 12%? You better report it, right? Is it about right?
It's a very yes.
It's about 12%. Under the new law, the boss is handling all cash tips and all credit card tips.
And right now, we don't have to deal with them. They do their thing, whether they want to share it, take their stations, and it's all, and everybody's happy.
So isn't it, if you want to put more money in the waitstaff's pocket, and the waitstaff supports the no tax on tips, because just take it, you're getting 4, we'll tax that and we'll figure out the whole. This is Frankenstein.
Wow.
Like it's going to kill restaurant business.
It's going to be a disaster.
When waiters don't want it, when the restaurant owners don't, when the governor of Massachusetts, who used to be a waitress, doesn't want it.
And they actually put it on the ballot, though. See, they did at least, here you go, vote for it then. And they voted totally against it.
Wow.
So, I mean, we still haven't recovered from the COVID situation, believe it or not. It's 2024. From everything we've suffered, all the restaurants, hospitality, and now throw this, it's like Michigan, stay out of Michigan if you want to open a business. Bad for business, Whitmer.
Yeah, people are leaving.
But there's another thing that doesn't make sense. I mean, as we're entering the holiday season, I like to send gift baskets. You cannot order and have a gift basket with wine sent into the state of Michigan. Like, I can't send you a gift basket with wine. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to send any.
All right, Mark. You know what? I'm done.
All right, well, that's the State House, but is it the Lansing County Commission that is talking about tampons?
Ingham County.
Oh.
Ingham County.
Ingham County.
The Board of Commission.
I'm from Ingham County, too. Okemos, mama, shame.
All right, so it's like tampons in the men's room.
In the men's room.
Okay, I want to think about that a second. Okay, look, I'm not against it. Watch this. There's somebody that's transitioning. A woman is transitioning into a man. She wants to use the man's toilet, like 1 out of a million or whatever it is. Okay. And you need a product. Oh, okay. But why are we paying? Why would the taxpayer?
But do transgender, and I'm asking, do they have cycles? I mean, are they?
They haven't until the ovaries are removed and the.
Oh, they're transitioning from a woman to a man. I'm sorry,
Right,
I misunderstood. I was thinking from a man to.
And you're going to need one, but you're a man, so you're not going into the woman's bathroom. Okay. But one, why wouldn't you just put a dispenser up there where you have to pay for it? Just. Right.
Yeah.
And then
Mike's in the women's room.
It's how it used to be. And
Mm-hmm.
years and years ago, you'd go into a restroom and whatever, and they had the machine, and you put in a quarter, 50 cents, whatever it was, and it came out, and you used what. We have to spend our money, $32,000 for tampons, and yet there's no mental health money for anybody. There you go. There's the problem.
Well, let me ask you this: in the public buildings now, are there tampon dispensers?
I haven't seen any.
Those should be in there so people can get a.
Maybe some still have them. I don't know.
So do they sell condoms? In the
I think those are bars. Certain bars used to have condom machines.
And they still might.
And they may. Yeah.
Shouldn't they put condoms up in the women's bathroom for women who are transitioning from a man? Isn't that a hygienic product?
Could be.
Good point.
Well, they really should put them in there anyways, because women are generally more responsible getting condoms than guys.
This is
so I've heard.
Some whacked out
Nothing?
shit, man. It's
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But I was telling Grace earlier, I had gone into the restroom and I saw a urinal. And I said, oh my God, are they putting urinals now in women's restrooms? And I took a picture. I was ready. I was like, oh my God. And then I walked out and I realized I had accidentally gone into the men's room. So, I mean, but I was already, I'm like, oh, they're putting urinals in women's room. But we should just have restrooms. And it did happen. I'm glad nobody walked in. I'm glad nobody was in there. But why not just have restrooms? And so because we keep individual restrooms, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which you are. Just wash your hands.
old buildings. New buildings do.
No
like,
space, right?
Like you go to LA and it's just a row, or you go to Europe, the newer places,
Right.
it's just a row of doors, right? And
Whoever.
that's
Yeah.
it. But
This
we
is
have
too
old
confusing.
buildings. So, it reminds me when I was working at the New York Times, it's about the year 2000, and I'm going to call him Bob, okay? Bob was transitioning into Babs. And Babs wanted to use the woman's toilet, right? And the women, the New York Times women, sharp elbowed, very, new world, feministic, liberal, absolutely refused to have Babs because it was sort of a year transition. You live as a woman before reassignment surgery. And they revolted.
Really?
They were like, absolutely fucking not.
But was Bob still Bob, or was Bob fully Babs? I mean,
Bob was transitioning to Babs. Did Bob have his parts? He did, his male parts.
okay, so Bob was still Bob.
See, now we're getting into all
But
this.
that's what I'm saying. So
we don't,
but
you don't know
and we
how it
don't
works.
know. But I'm saying, so if Bob is, buh, meaning he's just in the middle and not moved from Bob to Babs, then he's still technically Bob and should be handled and treated as Bob and not Babs. Now, when his transition is complete and he's now Babs, then he has access and.
Why? So, I mean, because in women's bathrooms, you have stalls.
Right.
Privacy. So, is it you're worried that Bob/Babs would be a predator?
I think that's what
Yes.
people have said. I mean, that's
And when I'm not saying Babs was,
right,
but it sure invites a whole.
but women are predators too. So, I mean, where does that, I mean, how do you distinguish between, I mean, a gender does not mandate that a person has pedophilic or predator practices. I mean, it happens on both sides.
See, because this is key, because guys don't care, right? Like straight women will be drunk and, hey, watch the door for me. And they come in and they use it. And I don't care who's using it, right?
Yeah.
It really comes back to a woman's space again.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the way it was, the solution at the New York Times was they took a woman's bathroom and made it Babs' bathroom, and women could use it if they wanted to, and not a single one did.
Wow.
Not a single one
So
did.
interesting, yeah.
So I find it interesting now, like 20 some years later, that the New York Times has as an op-ed, the bathrooms of the Capitol are now unsafe spaces, written by Anna Marks, who writes a lot about gay, lesbian, bi, queer, and all the other letters. Life.
Is that her?
Yeah.
No.
Well, up here it is. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, okay. I'm sorry. I meant
No,
the
that's
okay. I'm
Nancy
sorry.
Mace.
Okay.
So that's Nancy Mace, the conservative Republican from South Carolina, and the new member of the House, transgender, from Delaware. Help me with the name.
Sarah McBride.
Sarah McBride. So now there's a big war on Capitol Hill. What they're going to do with the toilets? There are unisex toilets, and there are men's toilets, and there are women's toilets. So she's passed a legislation like you can't use the women's.
Yeah, a resolution or legislation. Yeah.
Yeah, did it pass?
Well, I think they just came to an agreement because I think Sarah McBride's like, all right, there's bigger things to worry about. I'll just use whatever. I have a bathroom in my own office.
Put that back up so I can read what the author's writing, though.
Yep.
On Monday, the South Carolina representatives announced plans to introduce a measure
Now, keep going. Move that would prohibit transgender people from using single-sex facilities on the House side of the Capitol, locker rooms, etc. And the author writes, while abhorrent, the move is straight out of a long-time reactionary playbook a decade ago after their attempts to exclude gay people, etc., etc. Like, is it a reactionary playbook when there are... Look, here's how I look at life. There are straight people. There are gay people. There are people in between, right? Fully accept them, love them. There should be space for them. They should be included in the Olympics in their category of people. But let's make accommodations, but let's not take it from people that don't feel comfortable.
But my thing, what about, and you and Mark can answer this. You're in a men's room. There's a guy who is gay, maybe even a little flamboyant, but he's gay, the male, and he comes into the men's room. Like, is that uncomfortable? I mean, but that's what I'm saying. So
what's up?
I'm just saying, so where do you draw the line? So if you have a woman that may be gay and that may be butch and she comes into but is still a woman, I mean, the lines are so, like, just let everybody use the bathroom.
Oh, like many years ago in like West Hollywood, right? I went to a killer gay bar. Awesome. The Abbey, right? It's in West Hollywood. And I went in with my buddy Gary. Gary's gay, and flamboyantly so. And he's got a stall, I got a stall, and we're gonna do a couple of bumps, a little cocaine. Cocaine.
Oh, not you, Charlie.
So he's got the cocaine.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, it was the 80s, man.
It was last year.
And it was another lifetime ago.
Yeah.
And he does his bit, and then he passes it under the stall, and I'm in, and I get it, and I do my bit, and then I come out, and I realize, and Gary comes out, but we weren't stall to stall.
Oh, God.
There was a guy in between us. He comes out and goes, gives us a thanks, brothers.
Oh, good one.
That's what happens in a men's bathroom.
I was like, yeah, man, at a gay bar, that's what happens. It was fly. It was, you know what I mean? It's like
the most exciting thing we have is, hey, we're out of tissue. Can you pass me some?
And we're rolling it underneath. Or sometimes you throw it over just for fun.
Exactly. So I just, instead of trying to re-engineer society, kind of try to respect people, right?
Yeah, it's like whatever.
But everybody needs to respect everyone. I'm a woman.
True.
I don't want a man coming into my bathroom. If I take a little kid in or whatever, I don't want that happening. You're a man, you don't want, that's fine. So have one that's available for everyone, and everyone just lighten the freak up. I'm sick of everyone just being offended I'm offended that everybody's offended by everything. I'm over it. That time's gone. Grow up, people.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with it too, because if a man is out with his daughter and he asks her, lets her go into the restroom. So I think there's a legit, because you've had men say, hey, my daughter's in there. Can you keep an eye on her? I understand and I respect that. So you're right, Grace. Just those safety parameters and respecting, that there are other people that don't look or live
we all
like
can't,
you.
We don't have to think like
just want to go to the bathroom.
Have an open mind, respect each other. None of us agree on everything.
And that's okay.
I mean, the last few years, like if you didn't agree on one thing or see saying one thing, cancel culture, this, you're shit, you're garbage, whatever you are. No. In fact, all you said that you all are that now. Just relax. Everybody respect each other.
Just look, I don't care what you're carrying, so go use the stall.
That's what I'm saying. Just use the restroom. I'm more concerned about people still in the restroom that come out and still don't wash their hands. That offends,
that's a problem.
That offends me more than you being of another
I'll tell you this,
gender.
though. I don't want to legislate either one of them, though.
Exactly.
Do we need a law for that? Is that really
you don't need a law?
predator?
You don't need a law
for
it.
Do we need a law to wash your hands?
No,
I feel
you
like
shouldn't. And a law doesn't make you more conscious.
Well, hold
about
on.
what you're supposed to do.
For real though, you go like this. You're at a Lions game, and everybody's waiting for line, right? And the men's shit is just this mile long, and there's just a few women in line, and a guy goes trudging in there. What you gonna say?
I'd be pissed
if the women are like, "Hey, get out of here." What are you gonna say?
What am I gonna say?
Yeah, if the women are like, "Hey."
Well, I just don't want to. I don't want there to be a law to have to legislate it, right?
Well, dude, get the fuck out of there. Well,
of course,
they're trying to make law where you can do that. What do you got to hold your reassignment card out in case the authorities ask?
We should just be using common sense.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's why I don't want a law about
Common sense is
Common
not common
sense. That's
anymore.
it. Right. What you just said.
So listen, if you live as a woman and let's say you live as a woman, but dress as a guy,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to say something to him? Probably.
But what is dress?
If he dresses as a woman, are you going to say something to her? No. So,
I just say, let's
So in the
everybody
end,
use the restroom.
it's going to be back to where it is anyway. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. But it's
just like what Karen was
volumes
saying,
and volumes of bullshit and what we should already
well, that's
know.
why, because it riles people up on both sides, and it's fucking exhausting.
We need shit fixed.
But
we
it
can't
also-
spend $32,000 on tampons.
But it also gives them something to say that they're doing. Again,
Well,
we're working on something, but you're not doing anything.
Let's remember, Ingham County is running a deficit. You're not allowed to, right? In these levels of government, you're not allowed to. And yet, it's going to start out at 32, the estimation to put tampons in there. And what? Just make them $1, right? So you're already running a deficit.
That's a novel idea. Maybe they could make money off of doing it.
There's a business that'll cut. It's like what do you call those machines
They
that
stock 'em?
you buy
Yeah.
candy?
Vending
there's
machines.
a vending machine. That's it. You have a company that's going to do vending machines.
But
Ingham County, stay the hell out of it.
Yeah, but they have companies that do that. We've that
Yeah.
that are in women's rooms, and you can buy.
But they want to give them all for
kinds
free.
of
Like
stuff.
everything's for free.
Okay, well, now, finally, Mike Duggan, who wants to run for governor, and he had a little press conference, and all the gerbils ran up there and took their acorn and dutifully reported it. I accomplished the thing I wanted to accomplish was to grow Detroit. Okay. Well, he didn't grow Detroit because when you became mayor, there was 680,000 people here. There's now 630,000. That's a loss of 50,000 people. But he looks back to last year and says, we actually gained about 1,800 people. Okay, if you take out the illegal aliens, you lost people. And what is it, the World Population Review? Their estimates are pretty good. And Detroit is on schedule to lose more people again.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this bullshit that the guy's selling us?
It's just like he said all the time. He controls the narrative, and everybody just runs with it. I mean, it's like, okay, nobody is doing the math. I had this conversation with him. I said, have you not listened to Charlie? Charlie has literally broken down the population numbers since he has taken office. He said he gained about 1,500 people, but you lost 80,000 since you took. Like, that doesn't equate to growth. But,
Remember, he's out there going, what a bunch of cranks. They don't know how to count. And he's suing them. He's trying to get a recount and he can't get it. And finally he gets it when they're bussing people up from the border. He gets a new estimate. And then again, you're not doing a good job. We all know these buildings are empty. We know they are. We know it's a Potomkin village.
All you got to do is come down here one day.
Yep.
One night.
Look outside one night, one day, and look around outside and see what's going on. Detroit used to be, people would come into the offices, come into the buildings. We are not an actual office workforce business city. We are now event and convention driven city. And it's changed completely and it'll never go back. People need to get up off their asses, out of their house, get into these buildings and fill them up. Pretty buildings with emptiness in there doesn't make a city. There's businesses that were promised things. Things were built to make all the businesses around it thrive. It's not working.
And let's be honest. We've done it a million times. Not going to go. These are fake crime numbers, right? So where people live, it's not getting done. The schools aren't getting done. The policing they do the best they can. I'm not going to dog on rank and file cops, but it's a mirage. And that's why the population continues to fall. Tell the fucking truth. Now you want to run for governor.
But just something that Grace said, I was thinking about that the other day. I had a meeting at downtown and I said, there are no people down here. You remember even Detroit at its worst during the week, during the day, there were people down here. Like there were places to go for lunch. You had to find a place to park. You knew,
Nothing opens till 5 now anyway.
There was activity. That doesn't exist anymore. And that is, remember when I went to Chicago and, we said, hey, but there are people here. New York, there are people here. They're not here.
I know.
And a few people walking their dogs because they moved into some of the apartments down here doesn't constitute growth.
Nope.
No, doesn't really. Okay, so I'm gonna have Thanksgiving off. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I'll get you Tucker.
Soon as if the world's not on fire.
If not, get Cuomo again. He had a good show last night.
Yeah. Oh, he had a good show last night?
He had a great show. He had
He
Stephen
always
A.
does.
Smith,
They're
Bill
whacking
O'Reilly.
over there. They're whacking over there. He had Dave Smith?
No, Stephen A. Smith
Uh-huh.
and Bill O'Reilly. He had a great show last night.
Didn't have
I
me,
missed it.
bitch.
Yeah, I
I'm going
didn't
to call him up. What the fuck?
The only thing that was missing was you. And I said, Charlie's going to come up in any second now.
I did a show in New York with Stephen A. was there. He's a cool fucking dude.
You know what? I used to not like him, but I hosted a panel discussion, and it was him and Craig Kelser and some other, and I was a moderator. And he was actually very nice. I was very impressed with him because I used to think he was just I didn't like him.
Yeah.
But after I had the opportunity to, he was
and
okay.
I want to say about
Yeah.
that whole crew,
Mhm.
right? We're in the new era of populism and reconfiguration. Chris had to move towards the Center for Business. Tucker had to move. Taibbi had to move. Like everybody's had to move. I never moved. I'm for work, fair day's wage, stay out of my bedroom, leave me alone, let me worship as I wish. That's the great promise of America.
And your bathroom.
Huh?
And your bathroom.
Yeah, and yeah, don't fuck with people in the bathroom, man. You know what I mean?
Because you're fair and it's common sense. I'm back to that common sense and some logic and using your brain.
Look at my post today about common sense.
That's really it.
I'm going to look at your post and look at my post on the Michigan Enjoyer and all of that. Yeah, I told you at the beginning of the show. And I just want everybody to remember that just because a man's body is busted doesn't mean he's less of a man. And he's much better of a man with a good woman or a good man next to him. With that, have a terrific holiday. See you in a couple weeks.